Happy New Year's Eve. Get settled in here. I had to move the camera a little bit. There. And you can see what's on the table. I'm going to try to post the pattern to today's Nordic Star that I'm going to be working on. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the pattern. I'm going to try my best. Put a link into the pattern. I'm going to link the blog post on My Creative Corner3, and I'm just going to work here. It's going to be a little informal. Maybe at some point you'll watch this and you need someone to hop on and sew with me as we go along, or maybe play it later if you need someone to sew with. Sometimes it feels better when you're sewing with somebody. So if you're on with me, drop a comment and say hi. Tell me what you're working on. Still looking for that pattern. Here, I found it. Put the link in the comments. Hi, Sharina. I'm glad you were able to stop in. Just kind of sewing along here. Going to be doing some piecing on my Nordic Star. First thing I'm going to do is, now that I shared the pattern, I hope that it worked. Let's see if it worked while I'm messing about here. Is that I use my preferred method of making half square triangles, and that is I have my red points and my white points. I drew a line down the center, and then you can see probably a little bit better here is that I sewed. Today's lighting is terrible. 1/4 inch, you can barely see it. 1/4 inch on each side of that line, You can use your rotary cutter or scissors. Now Sharina is going to be trimming and quilting mug rugs today. I made a whole bag of them using Minky Kim's Christmas tree pattern, and I loved it so much. I think 18 in total, and I forgot to leave the bag when I was dropping them off at my mom and dad's. So, you know, I'll be giving them to my family next year. You ever done that? I have a whole bag of knit washcloths and those mug rugs, and I forgot to drop them off. And I thought, you know what, it's after Christmas, so I sent the people I wanted to give them to a gift card. And then, you know, maybe shipping will be better next year. So I'm going to just cut right on my line here in the middle. So these patches, these squares that I am working with are 5 inches. And then you press this open and trim it down to 4.5 inches, like these. And then you start arranging your corner, like in my picture, for right here. You put the background, and then I have white for this one, and then arrange the points. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about where I got this beautiful red and white print, and it came from my friend Halo Inspirations, Angel at Halo. So if you need some fabric, she has this and some other lovely quilt fabric. Notions, some batting was there. So I'm using this part of the red and whites where the light's glaring today. It's so gray. It's not snowing. Let me look outside. It's foggy. It is 31 degrees, and we're supposed to get a little snow, but my mom is supposed to get a lot more snow than us. I think 6 to 8 inches they're supposed to get. We are on the bubble. We are on the bubble. We may only get a couple. So I'm putting this print in this part of the 4 patch, the white in this part of the 4 patch, and then I angle. I lay them out every time, because when you deviate from it, it goes sideways and you sew them the wrong way. And if you can look at my pretty Happy New Year tray, my sister put chalk paper on there and decorated the tray. You probably can't see it super well, but I'll get that out toward the end. So I'm going to just go ahead and do a little sewing. Today's just an informal little sew. I thought the Nordic Star was perfect for this Christmassy, winter looking quilt. It could stay out from Christmas all the way through Halloween, Valentine's Day. It could stay out that long. So I'm going to chain piece my 4 patches together. And I'm going to do all 4 quadrants in this chain. I don't like doing lots of chain piecing because I get it mixed up easy, but in this particular quilt it works out. So it works out pretty well. These are 4.5 inch squares, and I have this really pretty sparkly white that I have this light because you really need to know that you have the right or the wrong side, because this side is a shimmery. Can you see it a little bit there? Just a nice little shimmer on that white. gives it a little extra special Christmas feel. And I found this particular white in the stash. Always got to double check. So what are you guys doing for New Year's Eve? This is probably what I'm going to be doing until football. I have quite a few games. I have some knitting, and I think I'm going to start a New Year's Day crochet project. I still have a knit on my little elementary wrap. I call it little because the yarn is sock yarn, fingering weight yarn. And a lot of people are probably having big plans today, but it's just a different year for us. Hospitals are packed with sick people. I did visit people on a small scale. I visited my parents, and I visited my son and his wife before Christmas, and then it just really went absolutely bonkers up here. So we're not going anywhere today. We did go out to dinner last night at a small restaurant that wasn't too crowded. Kind of our last dinner out for a while, because New Year's, my husband and I have decided we are really going to buckle down on our health and wellness. Yeah, we both need to go to the little gym in our garage, and we're going to eat healthier, and we're just making small steps toward change for the better. If I happen to lose some weight, that will be fantastic. Mostly I want my blood sugars to come down more. They're coming down, but they need to come down more. And I just want to do things better so I can feel better. So I'm working on my Nordic Star. I put a link in the comments that looks like it should take you to the actual notes to the pattern. It's a very simple, but yet I'm finding that the simpler a pattern is, sometimes the bolder it is. Maybe that's why I'm struggling with my Dear Jane. I'm going to get that out in January too. So I've got a nice little thread cutter here. It's 3D printed by Hard Rock Woodworks, and they sent it to me as a gift, and I thought that was beautiful. Love the purple. And back here in the light, it's so shiny and cute. Has a blade in there. I think, not sure what kind it is, but when it goes dull, I don't know if I can open it up or not. It's not a type of screw head I'm familiar with, but you can always order one. I was thinking of putting a little sticker here with my podcast logo on it. I love these, and I just like having cute little decorations on things. Now I'm going to go ahead and press these over here with my little mini ironing board. I have an ironing board and my cute little mini Dritz. I guess it's a Dritz iron. It's not super expensive, and it really makes your workstation great if you don't want to get up and down too much. Sometimes I like to. I have a big iron, about 10 steps that way. So I'm just going to press my pieces now and match up with little 4 patch quadrants. 2 squares that are 4.5 inches, and 2 star points start out as 5-inch squares. Oh dear, I think I messed this one up. Yep, did I mess them all up? No, I just rotated it the wrong way, 180 degrees wrong in my brain. So, there we go. You can see my 2 half square triangles, my white, and my print. Yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to press. So, who else is with us? Just let us know when you're here. Let me know if you're sewing anything, hand sewing. If you have any plans for New Year's. Sometimes it's nice to sew with other people. We've done studies to show that when you have someone else working on a project while you're working on a project, a lot of times you get more done. It's just the whole thought that we're all sitting down and working on something together, even if it's not the exact same thing. Just pressing away here. Hello! Marsha's sewing a quilt top for my cousin, and I can't wait to see it because I haven't seen a picture of the whole quilt pattern yet. So it's going to be exciting to see what you're working on, Mom. And Happy New Year to everybody. I know it's a little early. Happy New Year's Eve. How's that? Been doing a little bit of year in reflection things around here. And we're just going through like, wow, this felt like so much happened this year and it was so long. But yet, at the same time, here we are at the end of the year. Feels pretty quick. I'm just going to sew my 4 patches together. No, I didn't pin. Shrina's doing mug rugs. Can't wait to see them, Shrina. You should post a picture of them after the live or even during the live. You can post a picture of what you're working on in the feed of our group. Now I have my sewing machine turned down a little bit so it's not too loud while we're on live. Instead of pinning, I just line up the center seams and pinch them. Then I go ahead and pinch the top, put it down right there in the chain. So far it's worked pretty well. I do have some pins here, but I hate using them. Slow me down. But for accuracy, pinning is best. quadrants all sewn. And I pre-cut them before the live, and when you just sit down to sew them, they go pretty quickly. But I didn't cut like the whole quilt out. I've been cutting out a few at a time. And here's my pretty thread cutter. You only have a partial picture of the quilt. Oh my, it's going to be gorgeous though. And yes, it is a Northwestern collegiate quilt. That's where my cousin went to school, and they have picked out some beautiful fabric already. I have seen the fabric, so that's pretty cool. So it's going to be awesome. Hello, Alice. Happy to see you on live. Happy New Year's Eve, and I hope that you're working on some fun things. I think this little iron is hotter than my regular iron. That's pretty nice. So I'm trying to do a pressing pattern where I'm pressing seams to the red for the half square triangle and then just away. You can try pressing it in. Every once in a while it just kind of gets hung up and it doesn't lay real flat. So I've tried both ways. So particularly on this one, I'm going to try it this way because then you won't get all those fat layers building up in the points. Get that one flat so you can see I did. This went one way, this went the other way, and then the red was ironed toward the red. Okay, so now we get to do the fun part. Get a drink here. Okay, so now we're going to join the quadrants together, and for the Nordic Star I have 1.5 inch strips and a center that is the red. Gives it that little star look. That here's the little tiny 1.5 inch square for the center. Anyway, it makes these stars look like, reminds me of the ones that you would do when you were knitting a star. Put these over here so I don't get them flying off the table and into the computer. bucket over there that I made. I'm just going to finger press that and do the next seam. Do the next half. I think the menu we have for New Year's Eve is frozen flautas that I bought at Costco. Are you the only one sewing in your pajamas on New Year's Eve? I highly doubt it. If I had pajamas that were camera worthy, I would be wearing them. I just washed my hair, so it's still wet, and everything else is very casual. I think I dusted behind me just in case they wanted to make sure there were no cobwebs or dust picked up on your camera. So we have charcuterie things all set up for this afternoon's football snacks, and we probably will do a lot of that tomorrow. Also, we don't have a lot of crackers, so at some point somebody's going to have to go to the store and buy crackers. We have a lineup of lots of bowl games and college football playoffs. I have a couple of beverages in the refrigerator for later on today. So now I'm going to do the center strip, which is a little red patch with two of the long skinny strips. You got dressed because you're cold. Yeah, I understand. It was cold here last night. It was very cold the day before, too. But I'll be honest, I don't have slippers or socks on. I'll probably do that later. I haven't really paid attention too much on the pattern for these strips or even the background because they're really non-directional, and I think the more they move around on the quilt, the more interest it gives. So just kind of sewing with everybody so that we have someone to sew with on New Year's Eve. With this I'm going to sew or press with the red inside. I'm going to press all my pieces now. Let's see. I think I'm going to get more than one block done in this hour or so of sewing that we're doing today, because I cut my pieces and did my points already off camera. Pressing the little connecting strip with the seam the opposite way so it kind of doesn't slip when you're joining that little red square in the middle, because you know your eye goes right to the center. So do my best. I will pin this one because if that little tiny red square is off just a 1/16 of an inch, your eye goes right to it. Oh, Sharina, you sound like a very good cook. You do crepes on New Year's Eve, and you're doing fried scones instead this year. You know, we don't really do a lot of breakfast, but I don't know, that sounds like a really good idea. You know, some people do a big Christmas breakfast, but we usually have our meals at lunch and then do a lighter supper. I haven't had scones in a long time. They sound delicious. I know Panera makes some nice scones here. Okay, so let's pin this little center. Alright. These are nice and super sharp. They have those little silicone edges, these pins, that come in this cute little pin box. And I totally forget what they're called. But I bought them from Angel also. But I like these because they're very thin and they're super sharp. So it holds these little seams nicely. I just put one on the top. And here we go. Let's hope it works. You never know, right? Always the big reveal at the end to see if your seams actually lined up. Make sure. Just wanted to make sure that there wasn't a wire hitting my thread cone. My friends in my local quilt group are getting together and we're sewing January 8th, if everyone's well. And I can't wait. I have hardly sewn with other people, except for these lives, in so long. I'm hoping that I get some things done at the sew-in. It's all day, so I may have to take like a sewing machine project and then something to do with handwork because that's an awful lot of sitting. Are you going to go to it, Alice? I hope so. Now the excitement begins. Will the seams line up? Will I be getting the seam ripper out? No one knows. Too bad. Gonna give it a little press here before I show you, because it always looks better, that very center block. And yes, it did line up pretty good, not too bad. So this is about 17.5 inches, which makes a nice size block for the quilt. I think I'm going to do 12. And 3 across and then 4 down, and join them with these skinny strips as sashing. And I should have enough red to put tiny little cornerstones just like this, 1.5 inches. I'm pretty excited. I'm very, very excited. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to press this better on my big ironing board with my big iron. And I haven't been starching these, but I might before I join them together. We'll see. I've kind of gotten away from starching my blocks quite as much because, I don't know, the starch makes me itch and wheeze a little bit. Alright. Now, let's do more of the floor patches. Let's see. Make sure I don't have a... Okay. It's the puzzle now, putting the patches in the right place, the critical moment. When you get easily distracted and sew them backwards. And my sparkly white. Okay. So a super funny thing I found out is that when a lot of people were working from home, because they didn't have other people around them working, they weren't getting as much done. Oh, I got a lot of fuzz on this. So there are a lot of apps that came out where you could like log on and watch someone else work. You don't even talk. These are complete strangers. You don't even talk. You just log on. They're working on their computer. You're working on yours. You can look up and see another human being working on their business. I just thought that was so funny in an unusual sort of way. But at the same time, when you're home alone all day, I can see how you don't even hear other people. So I just thought it was interesting, and I do see it a lot on TikTok where people will go on lives and they're just working on their computer so that other people can log on and that they have someone to watch. Just that you know that other human beings are working just like you. Of course, you would have to have a job where you didn't answer the phone or keep it on mute somehow. I almost signed up for the service once. But now we're back in the office, so I am not worried about it because I have people all around me that I can hear and see, and they drop in from time to time. So underneath my table here, I've got all of the little patches. I have it on a little knit pad so it doesn't walk on the wood table, my dining room table. The other thing is the knit, I can put the pins in. Okay, there we go. Sharina, I like your style using the frozen roll dough, and then all you have to do is thaw it out and heat the oil, and that's how you make a scone. Really? That sounds great. I was watching somebody on TikTok, and they took frozen dough and room temperature butter, and then flattened the butter out, and then put the bread, I'm sure it was bread dough, on top. And then they just kept flattening it out and then folding it over, and it made a real flaky layered dough. And they baked it, fried, and I think they fried it. Oh, I was just like, carbs, carbs, carbs. Too many carbs for me, but it looked absolutely beautiful. And maybe I'll do that for breakfast one day. It kind of reminded me of more fluffy bannock bread. It's a real simple rustic bread. But I saw another bread recipe. So I'm obsessing about all of the bread recipes when I'm giving up carbs. Not 100%, but lowering them for the new year. And they made a rustic bread in a Pyrex bowl and then just threw it in the oven and baked it. It was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 ingredients. And they just mixed it with their hands. I think they let it rise once or twice. And that was it. I'm like, why do they make it look so easy? Mine never turns out like that. It certainly isn't as beautiful as the pictures and videos that they show on TikTok or Reels. And that isn't quite cut perfectly, but we'll make it work. I think that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. What I like about these thread cutters is that you theoretically can't chop your points off or cut your fabric. It just does the thread. At least that's what I was told. I can't tell you how many times I've tried using scissors or a rotary cutter and clipped right into the corner and wrecked my 4-patch or 2-patch that's going into a 4-patch. So there are reasons why those are a nice little luxury item that really aren't too expensive. So I'm going to press them out. What kind of little luxury items do you have that you bought that you don't have to have to quilt, but that you use it all the time and that you feel lost without them? I have a really nice, my mom and I both have a very nice ergonomic seam ripper. It's weighted, beautiful. Yep. You gotta use it. At least you have something that feels good in your hand, and then it goes faster. Job done. Oh, so you baked? That's how they make croissants. Bread dough and layer butter in it. Oh, croissants in culinary school. Okay, so then the next trick is, now you've jogged my memory, is that they rolled chocolate in the very center, because you're right, they baked it with all those layers, rolled it with the chocolate, and it melted, and it was exquisite on camera. I would guess that it was actually divine. So I feel like I'm making great progress today. Of course, I dropped it. Another little luxury item I have is this little tiny pressing mat that I can have by my sewing machine with this little tiny iron, as well as a rotating mat. But I have a small one, and those are really nice to have, because I don't necessarily like cutting all this fabric out. And so when you have things that make your job easier, like a beautiful rotating mat and a nice rotary cutter, makes the job easier. Binder clips is a great idea. I have quote clips, but I don't use them as often as I thought I would. I use them more for like probably clipping in your English paper piecing, like one at a time, or one or two of those clips when I'm binding a quote, when I'm doing the hand stitching part, because I still like to do that versus using it for a sewing machine. So I've made 7. When I get this block done, it will be 8 out of 12. Wow. So I'm going to have to get things loaded on the long arm. I've got probably half a dozen quilts to quilt. Because I have 3 table runners for a customer. So anybody who has experience with I'll get to that. Oh yes, the little pressing mat and tiny iron is a great little luxury. So do you have the little Clover tiny iron, or do you have one of these? I think you have one of these. I think I tried that Clover little tiny one, and it didn't last for me, and I burnt my finger on it. But this one I haven't yet. And this one you can put water in it and make it steam, which I like. So I have 3 tabletop quilts to do, and she brought Insel Bright for the batting. And I'm nervous. I have used Insel Bright for hot pads. So I thought, Mom, that yours were like mine. Insel Bright, I've done it for domestic machine stuff, but I've not used it for my in a long arm, and I'm nervous. So I'm putting it off. The good news is she doesn't need these until spring. So I have some time to get my quilts done before I take the plunge and try using Insel Bright as the batting for a long arm project. Fingers crossed that it won't be anything more than what my worrying is. Okay, the next thing that's a luxury item I think to buy for quilting is finding a square up ruler that you really like versus I've had a couple cheaper ones over the years, and I did some work and I was given a couple different square up rulers, and I have one that I really like. It makes sense. The markings on it make sense, and it's Marty Mitchell square up, but it doesn't have any anti-slip discs on it, so I need to put, I have a couple different options that I could put for anti-slipping on it. have sandpaper dots, and I have some silicone clear stuff that just clings. It's a cling that goes on the back. I got that at the quilt shop. It works okay. The little sandpaper discs are better, and so are the little silicone dots. Okay. Well, hi Barb. I didn't see that you joined. Very, very nice to see you. And welcome. So if you're just joining in, or if I'm just noticing that you're here, welcome. Let me know what you're working on. Ooh, do you have any plans for New Year's Eve? This is my plan. Hand sewing, knitting, machine sewing, and football. So I did, each patch is 4.5 inch. Hi Sherry. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to work today. I really like this block because I love stars, and I'm gonna have to say I've always been afraid to work with reds because, you know, reds can bleed. The other part is reds are hard to match. So when I saw this particular fabric on the website, I really liked it because it's the exact shade of red I love for Christmas and for Valentine's Day, but it has enough of a little bit of gray in it. It's really hard to show up under this light here, but it's really pretty. Let me show you this block, and it just gives it just enough gray that it looks silvery. It's not metallic, but it has this more silver look, and I thought it had a holiday feel to it, even though it's florals, some butterflies in one of the fabrics, and it has a more modern toile feel to me. The other thing I like about it is I like working on holiday quilts during the holiday. Oh dear. My nail has a split in it, and I just got a thread caught in it. I had a fiberglass patch put on it, and it's holding except for the very end. I tried my old desperate crazy glue and toilet paper, and the lady said, hey, whatever works. She goes, sometimes that works. This may only last a week or two, and then I may have to go have it redone. But it was like the best luxury I spent. Talk about a small indulgence. It's $5 to have somebody fix that nail. And of course, it's on your dominant hand, so it catches on every little thing. Oh no, Sherry, you broke your foot. You know, I don't have a dog right now, but the last dog I had, this is why I have hesitation about getting another dog, because I do enjoy them, but my dog, and it's winter and I live in the city, so I can't just open a door and let the dog out because my yard isn't fenced in. And he was a big dog and pulled me down the icy stairs about 10 years ago, and I hit my left arm, my left elbow on the railing, and I really hit hard. And of course the dog thought when I fell that I was playing, and he was jumping on my head, and no one heard me out there. My cell phone, I don't think I had it on me. So anyway, that's my fear of owning a dog because I have really bad balance. And I know dogs love us and puppies love us. And they get underneath our feet, especially like while we're cooking or going in and out of the house. I have a lot of stairs. Oh, but I love puppies. What kind of puppy do you have, Sherry? Yeah, with the broken foot, I don't think I would be able to sit too much at a sewing machine and run the pedals. And I hope you have a job where you can sit down and elevate your foot. Fractured your toe. Oh. There's nothing but time heals those bones up, I think. Oh. Oh, this makes me hurt thinking about it. Hand sewing is a good thing to do when I'm laid up and can't get on the sewing machine. I'd like to do English paper piecing for that. She's only 2 months old. Oh my gosh, I bet you she's adorable. She's a husky mix. They have the most beautiful eyes. Oh, good. We can sit down and... So, we were talking earlier about a lot of people work better and more efficiently. Part of why I'm doing a live here is that while we're doing a project, if we see someone else working on a project, it helps us to complete that project. And I thought that was weird until I started working from home during the pandemic. But I'm back to the office now. And I'm like, I think there's a lot of truth to that. It's a lot of truth. Besides, if you're like me, kind of home alone, my husband and I, not going to any big gatherings for New Year's Eve. I'm very introverted, so going out to parties, and that is not my thing, but I miss getting together with people. So I think I'm going to really, really work on that as we get to a point where we can get out and do things. Go hang out with friends. I'm going to go to our quote group is having a sew-in on January 8th. I have a circle of friends, but there's really not an active quilt guild. And most of the people in my circle of friends are retired now. So I don't have a lot of quilters to go hang out with. So I thought that's part of why maybe getting together. Maybe if you're like me, it's fun to have someone to sew with. Oh, your cross thread paint last night. Standing on the iron, yeah, it has to be super short. If you, especially, I don't know, when I fell with my dog, it took a couple weeks to where I could feel like I could walk well, because I hit my hip and then this elbow hit the railing, and that was a year-long healing process. It did heal, but toes, ugh, those are so hard. 'Cause you're right, they let you know. Oh, I need to iron my red square in the middle. So I did my 1.5 inch strip that's 8.5 inches long to my 1.5 inch square. Did the same thing with half of my Nordic Star. I've seen similar quilt patterns running around the internet over the last couple of years. And I was like, I've seen this before. It's inspired. I'm not selling the pattern. I just reverse engineered it. And if you want to sew one of these, you can follow my reverse engineered notes. I did put a link up in the comments near the beginning of this live. Or you can search through the feed. It's just a picture. I'm going to hold it up for a few minutes here before I start sewing. That way you can screenshot it if you want to. Now notice, I goofed in one of these quadrants here. And I put, oops, I drew it backwards. That's one of the things that's super easy to do. Keep your points in your center straight. Let you take a screenshot if you want. And I've been asked a lot. I wanted to just give a shout out to Angel of Halo Inspirations. You can see her card. This fabric came from her online quilt shop, and it's the most beautiful red and gray. Reminded me of Christmas, but it's very romantic and has a toile feel, so you could leave it out easily through Valentine's Day. And it'll go with all of my red heart quilts when I'm ready to change the decor. You know what? I forgot to pin this one. Oh, now my anxiety is up. What's happened? Did it slip in the center? Oh, we'll find out. I'll be mad if it's the best one. Because, you know, pinning is supposed to be, according to the quote police, it is the best one. It's supposed to be the best thing to do. Oh, your puppy sounds adorable, Sherry. You'll have to post a picture of her as your helper when you're working on your project tonight. I would love to see a picture of your cross thread painting. Probably like cross stitch. I don't know. Now you got me curious. Okay. Since first side did so well without a pin, let's see how it goes on this side without a pin. Living on the wild side. Alright. So I'm going to press the center, and I'll show you what my big risk taking what all of that without a pin. Let's see how it worked. It really did work. It worked just fine. Let me press it so you can see. It's pretty exciting because I really dislike pinning. Just poke my finger and then you get blood all over your white project. I know, it's disgusting. If you're eating lunch, sorry. Look at this. That center lined up pretty well. So, 2 blocks. So this makes 8 of the 12 Nordic Stars. And I'm going to put them together with skinny strips, 1.5 inches, and do little tiny red cornerstones. I think it's going to be a super fun quilt. And I really love this shade of red. So just to recap here, as it's been about an hour, I'm just going to kind of show you the basics. Oh, Sherry is doing Celtic knots. Oh my gosh, you know how much I love those. I plan to do it on the machine. So you're doing thread painting on your machine using a Celtic knot quilt book you bought. You picked out the pieces and parts to match that you like the best. Oh, we must see this as you get going along. I am wanting to toy with a little bit of thread work like that because if you listen to my podcast that I posted yesterday, I have a Bonnie Browning book on Zentangle and quilting, and she, instead of drawing out the Zentangles, she actually puts, I don't think she draws it out. She might draw it on fabric first and then takes black thread on white and machine stitches it with her domestic. It's actually very, very beautiful. I may try that. Then starting my Zentangle challenge, because Zentangle helps me to relax, but it also helps me do free motion quilting. And once I get this quilt top done, I'm going to have about 6 of my own quilts. So what am I going to do now until we end? I'm just going to cut the 5-inch and cut out a 5-inch red square and a white square for my points. I drew a line in pencil that you can't see down the center, and I sewed 1/2 1/4 inch off that diagonal line, and then I'm just cutting. Now you can use a rotary cutter, but since we're here on live and I thought we'd chat and wrap up, I'm gonna cut these while we talk and then press them open, and then you trim them down to 4.5 inches. Then you make your 4 patch quadrants. I used this beautiful print that's part of the fabric line. It's on the shop. I haven't trimmed these, but let me show you how to lay out the quadrants. So you pick out a fabric for your background. This center patch, I chose white, but you could actually also pick a fabric that you can fussy cut. And I did that with the Christmas gnome quilt and Santa cookie mat. And here we are. You just put these into a 4 patch. Arrange your 4 patches into a star, and you connect them up for this Nordic Star with your 1.5 by 8.5 inch strips with your tiny red star in the middle. Star, square, red square. Now, these I think work best when they're similar or the same background fabric. I have done them in contrasting colors, and it gives it more of a window pane look, which is great if that's what you're looking for. But for this one, I wanted it to look more like a knit star, where it's the points are floating in the background. That's all there is. It's super simple, easy to reverse engineer. No reason you can't. And if you want to make one, my little hand-drawn sketch is in the show notes. Show notes is from my podcast, right? It's in the notes of this with the link to a post I put in our group's feed when I was talking about making the Nordic Star. The other part of this is it's a beautiful 2 or 3 color quilt. Really, it's so beautiful, even with only 2 fabrics and 2 colors, or multiple fabrics of the same color. Like, I like white in the background because I think it gives it a more wintertime Nordic look, and you could just make all the rest of your star points of variations on a color or a collection of colors. I've seen it done many ways. And of course, high contrast fabrics are the best. I found that out. And you can tell on my 4 square that's made out this size gnome fabric. 3 of them worked really well, and 1 of them's a little mushy because I used a layer cake. So let me press these points, and then we will be about wrapped up for today's live. I want to show you, here's my little iron. I'm going to have a little travel luxury. It folds in half. It's by Omnigrid. That it's great for if you're going on a retreat, which I have a 1-day quilt retreat. No overnight, just spend a day with my friends. which I haven't done in so long. It's going to be wonderful. Or if you take a class, these are great. So I did post a podcast yesterday in case anyone would like a backdrop to their background noise, me chatting. We can sew together even longer if you want to listen to the podcast. I'm also putting it on YouTube later on today if you prefer to pick it up on YouTube. I did change my YouTube channel name to My Creative Corner3. They allowed me to do a custom name versus using something based on an email. Alright, so I'm going to have to square these up, and I will have enough for later on this week, maybe this weekend, to do several more. I don't think if I'm on 8, then I need to do 4 more. Alright, I hope your bus keeps you out early too. New Year's Eve, you should be home early preparing for your New Year's Eve celebration. I'll be watching football. I don't know if they're doing a New York Times Square ball drop. I usually tune in right about midnight to watch the ball drop to ring in the new year to usher out the old. And then it helps me prepare for all of the things that I want to do to just improve my health and wellness in January. Because I have had a little bit too much big indulgences instead of keeping them to little indulgences, like I talk about in my podcast. So I have one more point to press. I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. I want to thank you for supporting the podcast and being part of this group. This has been a wonderful, wonderful group of people to get to know you through the My Creative Corner3 group. I will post this live, post this when the live is done. There we go. So that you can watch it later if you didn't have a chance. And still, leave some comments. I'll read through them and be able to comment, and if you have questions. Together we can get a lot done. Sharina got her backing and bindings cut out for her mug rug. I know Marcia was working on her Northwestern quilt. I saw several of my friends and people who we are friends virtually pop in and out. I say thank you for stopping in and have a happy new year. Hope you were able to see my little tray here. I don't know, my sister made it. She found this wonderful tray and this is a great crafty idea. She put chalk paper in it, and she put some beautiful buttons and wire, and I have my own message board. So happy new year. Let's hope that 2022 is way better than the last 2 years have been, and that together we'll get through it, even if it is still more of the same for a while. But I look forward to spending time in the new year. I'm going to try doing more Facebook Lives. I think this is fun to get things done where you and I are chatting and I'm able to work on projects, because sitting and sewing for an hour is very unusual for me. I usually do 15 minutes at a time. I like this feeling of being able to sit and chat and not feel rushed. Have a happy new year, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.